What is up, guys? Welcome to another Life of Bliss video. Today we are going to be grouting all of the tile that I've been laying the past week or so, and I'm using a product from TEC called Power Grout. And this stuff is pretty cool in the fact that it never has to be sealed. It's pretty stain resistant, water, mildew, mold resistant, and it's not supposed to be as hard to lay down as epoxy grout. So we're going to give this a try. It was a little bit more expensive than regular grout from TEC or from other suppliers. It was about $22, $23 for this bag here, which is 7 pounds. So a little bit more expensive, but hopefully we'll never have to seal the stuff and it'll retain its color and we won't have any issues with it. So let's get started. For today's project, you're going to need grout, a bucket for mixing the grout, a grout float, at least 2 buckets with clean water, a drill to mix the grout, and several sponges. Okay, maybe not that many sponges. The color I'm going to be using for the wood looking tile that I've laid here in the bar and in the front entry area is going to be the silhouette color. And this is going to be kind of a DIY review of how this Power Grout works, how easy it is to lay down and clean up, and just my experiences with it. So I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description of where you can find this stuff and some of the other tools that I'm using. But I've got all my materials ready, so let's go ahead and mix it up and get started. All right, so we're gonna get this mixed up. It calls for 530 to 650 milliliters for the whole 7-pound bag. I'm actually gonna be doing a little bit less than that, probably about half, because I wanna see how this stuff is laying down for me. And also this is a fast drying formulation, so I just don't want it to dry up on me while I'm working with it. So after this dries for roughly 20 to 30 minutes, you'll come back and start using a sponge to clean up all the grout on the tile that's left over. All right, everything's been cleaned off for the most part. Like I said, the bag says wait 30 to 60 minutes before going over it with another towel, so I'm going to go over this section here. By the time I get done with that, that should be dry and ready to go over there as well. All right, so I tried cleaning it how the bag said to. Not too happy with how much haze is left over, and how they said to go back after a little while and buff the tile while it's still pretty much wet. So I'm gonna go like I see some guys do online and clean as I go. And hopefully that'll speed the process up a little bit, so I'm not doing a big section, waiting for it to dry, going back and cleaning it that way. So we'll see how that works out, and I'll let you know which one I like better. So this is the next day after everything's dried. Still a little bit of haze over everything, but I've been taking a towel and it wipes off pretty easy. So the grout color I'm going to be using in the bathroom is called Mist. So I've got it all mixed up. Let's get it going. Alright, bathroom is completely done. I'm gonna let this dry and we'll come back a little bit later and get some of the haze off of there by buffing it. Okay, so I'm not going to show you the whole buffing phase of trying to get the haze off, but I'll show you just a little spot and show you how much work it takes to get off, which isn't a whole lot at all. I'm just going to be using a microfiber towel that I've wet down just slightly. I mean, you can't even wring any water out of this. I just sprinkled some water on there. So I'll wipe down the tiles and show you what it looks like. So I'll let it dry for about a minute. It really wasn't even that wet, but you can see there's no haze there compared to like where the refrigerator is in there. So it's pretty easy to get this haze off with this Power Grout. I know these tiles are a little bit darker. With lighter tiles, you might have to actually use like a haze remover just to completely get rid of it, but this is turning out really good, so I'm pretty pleased. And this is the bar area after everything has been buffed and all the haze is off. And the bathroom area. All right, so that was the install with the TEC Power Grout. I'll kind of go over some of the pros and cons and what I liked about it. First off, the color consistency was almost perfect throughout all the tiling process. For the bar and for the entryway, I actually used 3 different bags over 2 days, so I did allow some to dry before I went ahead and finished it up, and everything looks seamless. It doesn't look like there's any color variations. You can't tell where I stopped one day and started the next. And from the bar to the entryway over there, like I said, the color consistency is spot on, so I really like that about it. Same thing with the bathroom with the lighter grout. Everything is the exact same color throughout, so I really like that. Next was the ease of use. You know, this is the first time I've done a big grout job like this, but it did lay down pretty easily. It seemed like it mixed up just like normal grout and was able to work it in and get it cleaned off fairly well. Once I was able to get better at my cleaning process, it became a little bit faster. So overall, I really have no complaints over how it laid down and how it cleaned up, especially afterwards, after going over it with the towel just to buff it. It all came up very easily and it looks very good. The last thing I really like about this grout is the cost compared to epoxy grout and kind of the benefits that you get with using it. This stuff essentially is exactly like epoxy grout, except that you don't get the chemical resistance that you do with epoxies. So you don't have to seal this. The color consistency is there. It's never going to fade. It's not going to mold or mildew. It's not going to have staining or anything like that. So a lot of the positives are there without having to spend the extra money that you would with epoxy grout. Epoxies normally run $50 to $100 per container that would be similar size to what I got there, which was about $22. So I really like the cost savings, and for indoors here, you know, where I'm putting it, we're really not going to be exposing it to any chemicals, so we didn't really need the epoxy grout. So that was one big positive for the Power Grout as well. One thing that's not really a con, but that you have to be really careful of that I found, was the amount of water that you're adding to this. This grout takes very, very little water. I mean, that whole 7-pound bag only took a little over 500 mLs for the complete bag. So if you're only using part of that bag, it's very important to read the instructions and see how much water you should be using. Because like I said, you know, compared to thin set and mixing that up, this took just a fraction of the amount of water. So definitely be careful, read the directions, and make sure you're not putting in too much and wasting a lot of product. One other thing that you have to be careful of as a DIYer, not someone who does this all the time, is how quickly this stuff sets up. It is a fast drying compound. I noticed once I put it on the tile, it only took about 30 minutes for it to really start hazing over and setting up. and closer to an hour before it was almost dry to the touch. In the bucket itself, it took about 40 minutes before it was really going to be too dry to use, or that I felt comfortable using it. So keep that in mind. I would mix smaller batches of it, go ahead and do an area, get it cleaned up, and then go back and mix some more so you're not wasting product. But overall, I really enjoyed using the Power Grout from TEC. I think it's a great product for the money. It laid down nice and it looks great once it's all done. I don't know how it's going to hold up to a lot of traffic, but I should be able to give a review here after about a year or so after we've used it and been down here living in it for a while. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful to you guys. Be sure to subscribe and check back for more updates on the basement build, and thanks for watching Life of Bliss.